All right. I know that the Ripple stablecoin talk and the stablecoin discussions in general are getting old. I get it, right? They're getting very repetitive, but I think that a lot of people are missing the big target when it comes to what's really happening with these stablecoins. We are starting to witness a very significant change around finance in general. We are starting to see completely different realignments of the paper-based processes behind finance, behind a lot of these sectors, these industries, and it's all going digital. And a lot of it is going to be on chain through tokenization. And even as we think about that, fiat currencies, CBDCs, all of this is how we are going to witness the biggest changes around finance. And Ripple with XRP are two major drivers of this, especially with this new stablecoin. But in this video, I actually want to talk about the new financial system, the ESDR, the SDR movement, gold, CBDCs, all that kind of stuff. So with that being said, sit back, relax. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. And if you haven't already joined the free Discord, there's going to be a link down in the description below. Join it. We almost have 10,000 members. And with that being said, let's talk about it. So RLGBP, aka RL pound, is basically confirmed at this point in time. I do believe that we can say that this is confirmed. The Digital Pound Foundation definitely said, hey, it has a nice ring to it at Brad Garlinghouse after getting approval for the RLUSD stablecoin. I think that this pretty much confirms it. Now, I did make a post regarding this. It was this one. You guys are probably all aware of it because I did include it in the past videos. But Smoke Dog did quote this, and he responded with something very interesting that did get me thinking. And he said, and then a blockchain-based SDR will follow. Document it. And if we look at this, this is the multilateral system, IMF leading. This is how an SDR basically works, where it's basically the center point of all currencies. It's the one that pretty much bridges them. It is an important instrument of global financial governance. And if we go over here, we could see, there we have XRP. And this is formerly known as XPool. Bank XRP is 100% correct here. But if we go over here, this is payments. And then on the bottom there, you have it may be possible for a blockchain settlement solution to incorporate a payment based upon some e-currency, perhaps an ESDR, since SDR, special drawing rights, by the way, is already familiar with operators today. Operators would need to obtain the chosen e-currency and then could have payments recorded on the blockchain. In this scenario, operators may only need to exchange to from an e-currency and may not require a bank for payments. With this last component, a truly automated settlement that simply needs approvals at a few key steps could become a reality. Now, if we take a step back real quick, think about what Ripple has been focused on for years. They have been focused on getting rid of intermediaries, aka in this case, it could technically be banks. And they have also been positioning XRP as a bridge currency to exchange to and from other currencies. This is basically the same exact description for what Ripple has been trying to do with XRP. It's actually kind of crazy to read these things, and then we think about Ripple and XRP and what the overall focus has been for well over, almost a decade now. But also building upon this, we have a video over here from Mr. Man XRP, and this one's actually very interesting. This is stablecoins are DeFi enablers, and for DeFi to work, it cannot just be one stablecoin. The setup is in. RippleNet will house various stablecoins to transfer value from key reserve currencies, USD, Euro, CNY, the JPY, and then also GBP. And check this out.
I think over time, the vision has changed a little bit, that it's still important as on-ramps and off-ramps. It's still important to have an alternative to digital assets that are volatile. But I think a view now is that if DeFi is going to work, it can't be all digital assets. And it also can't all be one stable coin, because if we're going to build these decentralized, permissionless public blockchains and the assets on them that are controlled, that kind of defeats the point of them being permissionless. So the idea, I think, today is that these are like key DeFi enablers. I think
so. Yeah, I mean, listen, stablecoins are the main, growth accelerant behind DeFi. I mean, almost anyone that's working within DeFi, using DeFi protocols, you're using a stablecoin along the way. Whenever you're swapping, trading, you're creating yield. Stablecoins are the key driver. But also over here, we have RL Euro or RL USD, RL JPY, RL GBP. I'm still waiting for RL Euro and RL CNY. Ripple will not house the world stablecoins, but rather only house reserve assets. Ripple is focused on wholesale money. Once these new Ripple stablecoins are created, the ESDR IMF currency can exist. Each currency is allotted a weight percentage in the basket of currency. No, XRP is not an ESDR, but rather the asset that allows that currency to transfer value. And yes, this is exactly, something that, has been talked about for a while now around the space. I know that a lot of people will call it crazy, that it's speculation, that, it's this, that, whatever. But if we're thinking about this logically, remember that Ripple has a ton of connections back to the IMF. I mean, they literally have been meeting with the IMF, working with the IMF for years now. And yes, Ripple is fully focused on wholesale money. They are not here for retail. They don't care about retail. Originally, yes, they were talking about, banking the unbanked and, providing banking solutions and financial solutions for the retail sector. But that has completely changed over time. I always say Stellar is more so for the P2P market. Ripple is more so for the bank market, right? Like they're here to become basically almost like a bank, where they are the provider for a lot of these solutions for the wholesale side of the market. But if we check this out real quick and play this, this is very interesting. And then I want to continue on with this.
So if you're imagining a stablecoin in Japan, what's the time frame?
Well, I think right now, Ripple in particular is focused on let's get live with the US dollar stablecoin. Okay. But I think there will be, people will want to hold yen stablecoins, and I think that's only a matter of time. And I think the regulators here in Japan, again, about a year ago, passed some legislation around that, and there's some companies going through the licensing process right now to get live.
A lot of the companies. So if you're
Now, on top of this, we have over here RLGBP, which I just mentioned in the beginning, and then also over here, what is the SDR? The SDR is an international reserve asset. The SDR is not a currency, but its value is based on a basket of 5 currencies: the US dollar, the euro, the Chinese renminbi, the Japanese yen, and the British pound sterling. Now, if we're thinking about this, this makes me start to go back in time and, really kind of question everything that we have been really kind of watching in real time, which again, I will mention that here in a second when I pull up a PDF file. But also, if we go and look at the bricks, because a lot of people will say, what about the bricks? What about the bricks? And again, Mr. Man XRP did post this back in March, and it was actually in response to Smoke Dog, because he was saying, few get it, cross-border payments over a network using an ESDR. And even down here, we have the bricks payment system based on a basket of currencies and blockchain. Ripple XRP consolidate liquidity into one pool of basket of currencies. The ESDR, fully backed by reserve currencies issued by private sector using blockchain, piece it all together. And yeah, this basically this is exactly how we would ultimately explain what Ripple is trying to do, what they're trying to become. A lot of people say it's speculation, it's not going to happen, this will never happen. But a lot of people also said that, money will never go digital. A lot of people questioned what, debit cards and credit cards were going to become. They said, oh, there's no way anyone's going to be using a debit card or a credit card. All of a sudden, almost everyone is using it. Everything is changing right now. We are starting to witness some of the largest changes out there. And our entire financial system, plumbing-wise, is changing to digital. And with that comes completely different solutions. And in this case, we have the ESDR solution. The only solution that is basically being quoted here. The BRICS consideration into an ESDR is being suggested as the only solution. Check this out.
Collaterals by the shadow banks would be basically under control. So we can have a solution. We have this solution, and CBDC are presently the way to jump due to this big technology, which would allow to fabricate without any cost a new SDR, an ESDR, no cost to bundle, to compose the basket, contrary to the present system, where making a private SDR is costly because the market is underdeveloped. But if we use the DLT tokenization, it's instantaneous, costless, and this could be the basis for making central bankers to jump and to decide to authorize IMF to issue ESDR, and so we'll have a multilateral lender of last resort with the possibility to manage the basis of the global liquidity in a counter-cyclical way. Thank you for your attention. Sorry for being long. You will have the detail.
Now, I do apologize for the video quality. I know that he was laggy a little bit. But if we're looking at what these moves are really kind of including, the tokenization of, CBDCs, the tokenization of money, central bankers, things like that, you got to remember, Ripple's the only one in this space that's working with the amount of central banks that they are working with. On top of that, right, payment systems themselves are changing right now. It's all about, automated, digital, almost instantaneous settlement. And the way that we get there is by having all of these things tokenized, all of these things on chain. And again, all of this goes back to the ESDR, push. And you know what's crazy about this? Let's go over here to the OMFIF. Back in October of 2019, digital SDR to enhance payment systems. ESDR composite token could improve back-end processes and lower compliance costs. Cross-border payments are growing rapidly, propelled by services trade demand from foreign investment flows and workers' remittances, but remain costly, slow, and opaque. Processes are complicated by the presence of multiple parties, regulatory approaches, and capital requirements, as well as differences in technical and operational standards. Legacy systems and infrastructure, concentrated market structures, and information asymmetries exacerbate cost. Now, if we're thinking about that, let's go down here because they say one way to facilitate cross-border payments would be the use of a digital composite asset of stable value based on the special drawing right, the International Monetary Fund's composite currency unit. The development of this ESDR has its genesis in a 2017 speech by Christine Lagarde. By the way, right around the same time frame is when Christine Lagarde, many players from the IMF, many central bankers were also in a private meeting with Ripple's CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, the IMF managing director and soon-to-be European Central Bank president, in which she said the fund will also have to be open to change, from bringing new parties to the table to considering the role for a digital version of the SDR. The value of the ESDR is based on the SDR basket of currencies. It exists in the form of digital tokens and represents a claim on the freely usable currencies of transacting parties and can be exchanged for these currencies. The ESDR possesses banknotes characteristics. It bears a monetary value, is protected by multiple security features, is uniquely identifiable and traceable. Its supply is controlled by the participating authorities. Its value are backed by the issuing authorities as well, and is interoperable across payment systems. Now, why do I think that this is very important to focus on? Well, because again, if we're thinking about these central banks, because even here they mentioned central banks could make use of the ESDR by issuing what would in effect be a universal central bank digital currency for cross-border transactions, as the value of the digital token would be determined by the IMF SDR's currency composition and weights. It would be a stable instrument with no additional volatility, trading, or investment activity, nor danger of manipulation. Now, if we're thinking about what central banks have been doing, they have been accumulating massive amounts of gold. They have been, one of the largest drivers of the gold, pricing as well, because again, they are creating demand for this essentially. They are buying up historical amounts of gold. And a lot of people have been mentioning like, all right, well, the BRICS nations have been buying up gold. So, are they trying to use gold to get away from the dollar? Like, what's going on with this? And a lot of people are trying to question what's happening. In my opinion, if we're thinking about the ESDR here, which is being told by, the IMF and the ECB, basically, these are like major discussions happening on how we could revolutionize our payment system. we go over here to this PDF file. Now, I've included this PDF file on many occasions on this channel. The coming reset of the international monetary system. We have gold price at the top, non-deflationary price of gold in a global gold-backed SDR standard. Tier 1 is the SDR, which would be defined as equal to a specified weight in gold, which will essentially be an ESDR, right? It's not going to just be an SDR, it will be an ESDR. Gold at this point would be revalued as well. And then we have the tier 2, which we have all of these different CBDCs. These are, going to be specified back to, the SDR as well, which would be equal to a specified weight in gold. The reason why I do think that this gold-backed ESDR financial system essentially will be created is because all of the central banks have been accumulating massive amounts of gold at the same exact time that they are looking into central bank digital currencies. I think like 98% of central banks are now looking into CBDCs. And then, of course, how does Ripple and XRP play into this? Well, Ripple, working with all of these central banks, I truly do believe that Ripple is starting to become the global financial infrastructure for a lot of these central banks and for the wholesale market. And then XRP, well, they're saying here that XRP would be defined as a specified quantity of SDRs, just like the local currencies. I'm not too sure if that's going to happen, but XRP allows for almost all of this to be, freely convertible. It allows XRP to be that bridge currency that it was always set out to be. Ripple still even is mentioning XRP being a bridge currency between central bank digital currencies as well. That way, anything that is lacking interoperability, it could essentially accommodate for that. It makes sense. XRP's overall value definitely comes from the bridge currency aspect. But also XRP does have a lot more value tied to it when it comes to DeFi and things like that as well. But that's exactly how I could see Ripple and XRP playing into this system, especially at the same exact time that we are now starting to see Ripple really kind of pushing all of these new stablecoins, which is, again, we go back to the original view on what is a stablecoin, what is a CBDC. CBDCs, the reason why they're called CBDCs is because they're issued out by the government. They're government issued stablecoins, basically. That's what makes them a CBDC. A stablecoin is issued out by a private company, in this case, Ripple or Circle or even, Tether. So if we're thinking about that, okay, aren't stablecoins just CBDCs, just with a different name because of the issuer? It's exactly what they are. So if we're thinking about Ripple pushing all of these new stablecoins and getting these regulatory approvals and, working with the big players already, working with a lot of these central banks, it feels as though Ripple is one of the major accelerators of this new financial system. It feels like Ripple is the backbone of the infrastructure for this new financial system. And not to even mention that if we go back to the OMFIF, right, a lot of people don't know who the OMFIF is, even though this is just a think tank organization, right? They have about $43 trillion tied to them in terms of investable assets. And the membership, right? If you go to the membership tab here, I'm not too sure if, so this is how to become a member. But if we go and go to the About section, we go to the team as well as their advisors network. I just kind of want to show you guys real quick who the players behind this are. First and foremost, this is the advisory council. A lot of these players come from major central banks, institutions, like HSBC is on here. We have Deutsche Bank. And the list just goes on. I mean, if you scroll through this is a very substantial list of individuals. They're very significant. And even down here, capital markets, we have all of the big banks, all of the big central banks. Like the OMFIF is not an organization to be completely ignored. I think everyone should be looking into the OMFIF. And what's crazy about this is that Ripple became a member and a partner of the OMFIF just recently. And even over here from the DMI annual 2024 report, interoperable solutions, benefits, and blocks, this was literally created by James Wallace, the vice president of central bank engagements and central bank digital currencies at Ripple. And he's talking about ensuring interoperability in financial technologies will enable personalized, accessible, and frictionless user experiences for all. And we know that James Wallace is the one that actually told us that Ripple is basically in conversation with, I think, like over 15% of central banks regarding central bank digital currencies and, major moves. But it's kind of crazy when you look at how embedded Ripple is already with these big players that have been pushing these solutions for a while. And even over here, we have from December of 2023, simplifying cross-border payments through CBDC technology, where it does break down how CBDCs and stablecoins will essentially be the major drivers of these significant changes around the cross-border payment markets. And even here, we have CBDCs enable low-cost, virtually instant settlement of both domestic and cross-border payments, reducing risk and improving the user experience. Digital currency technology like Ripple's CBDC platform introduces instant settlement and capabilities that are not possible with legacy technology. This helps ensure that payments are quickly sent and received in local currency on either side of a transaction, while providing platform for further innovation. And they also even mention the example of using XRP ledger technology that is far more efficient than, say for so, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. So if we're thinking about how crazy this is, it's really not that crazy. If we're thinking about this, possibility of Ripple and XRP being embedded within the global financial system, it's not crazy at all when we read about, what's happening with these new technologies, with these new digital instruments around, finance and currency. In my opinion, we are about to witness some of the largest changes in history around this space. And I don't think that a lot of people are paying attention to how significant all of this is. And even over here, we actually have a full breakdown of the special drawing rights based stablecoin issued out by a multilateral agency. In this, they actually do mention that such an arrangement would resemble the cross-border payment system that Ripple currently operates with its XRP cryptocurrency, and is just one of a variety of possible alternatives. XRP and Ripple is in a lot of these documents, in a lot of these PDF files, and I do believe that that is for a reason. I don't think that's just a coincidence that they're throwing Ripple and XRP into a lot of these PDF files. And Ripple's in these private meetings with these central bankers and these big organizations that are essentially pulling the strings around the global financial system. So to really kind of summarize all of this, I do think that a lot of people, although that you guys are getting a little bit annoyed with how repetitive the stablecoin discussions are, I think that a lot of you are missing the big target here. We are starting to see the entire financial system being completely revolutionized by players like Ripple. And I think that if you hold XRP, this is extremely important to focus on, because it will essentially make XRP very valuable in the long-term span of things. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely have a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. So you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.